Time now for our positive professor, Karol Sikora. Now, Karol, you know, the likes of you and I who were criticised and ridiculed for trying to spread the message of the Chinese COVID cover-up have been a little bit vindicated this weekend. A Sunday Times investigation revealed that at the start of the pandemic, China influenced the World Health Organization to prioritise the country's economic interests over stopping the spread of the virus and also propagate misinformation about its origin. So, to me, Karol Sikora, this is too little too late, but what did we learn?
I think we learned the politics and science mix. So basically, what was so unusual about this were three things. First of all, the virus that came out in Wuhan had HIV sequences in it, which no other SARS virus does. The second thing is that it had palindromes. Now, a palindrome is a sequence that's the same way backwards. The word madam's a good one, or nurses run. If you spell them backwards, you get the same word out of it. That's a palindrome. And they're classical techniques of genetic manipulation to lift pieces of DNA, in the case of the virus, RNA, from one place to the other. And the third thing is that it jumps species. This is something called spillover potential. If you remember the story of the bats and the pangolins in Wuhan, and the story was it came from those, but it didn't. It probably came from the lab. Not only that, Dan, the lab was actually funded by the National Institutes of Health in Washington. They gave them $7.1 million to look at the potential of weaponizing a virus. So
what do you make of the scientists, Karol Sikora, who say, no, it was definitely animal-to-animal transmission? Why do they so passionately believe that?
I have no idea. And if you look at the reports, there are a whole group of people that are very positive that it was definitely a synthetic virus in the lab, and others that say, no, it couldn't have been. Even still, it's sort of a 50-50 split.
Well, you know, I have said we should be talking about this lab leak theory right from the start. I think the Chinese cover-up was despicable, but what is emerging behind the scenes at the World Health Organization, I think, is just clearly shocking. But again, Karol, no one wants to stand up to them. No one wants to have this conversation. I just cannot understand it, given the complete calamity that China spread all around the world.
It probably wasn't deliberate, Dan. That's the only thing. It probably was a lab leak. I've been to Wuhan actually just before this all happened on a British government cancer journey. And, you know, Wuhan's a great place. I'd never heard of it before I got there. And now everybody knows about Wuhan. And I think the problem we've got is that the WHO is weak politically. It's buffeted by the fact they needed China, who are one of the major donors to the WHO, along with the United States. So I think it's a balancing the politics, the funding, and then the science, and trying to get a real story out of it. You know, most people just shrug their shoulders and say, now is not the time to worry about it. We've got to solve the pandemic, which is gradually being solved. And once that's done, then we can have the massive inquiries into where did this virus come from? How can we prevent it happening again?
Well, look, Karol, you're going to stay on this story. I'm going to stay on this story because there is no excuse for the Chinese cover-up. There's no excuse that it's taken the media this long to get on the story. While I absolutely applaud the Sunday Times for doing so, folk like me, folk like you, were talking about this last March. So, Karol, we will keep on this. Thank you so much for being here. Speak again next week. Welcome to the GB News YouTube channel. You can watch us live 24 hours a day, catch up on your favourite shows, and join in the conversation in the comments below.
Don't forget to subscribe and you'll never miss any of our exclusive content.